So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here for the first ever all virtual National Finals Challenge. We applaud you for the hard work that we know it took to get to this place, and we're excited to have a great Unit 1 hearing today. My name is Ryan Suskey. I'm Director of Programs over at the Ohio Center for Law-Related Education. We're the group that runs We the People over in the Buckeye State. We'll be following the standard procedures today with a 4-minute opening statement, followed by 6 minutes of judges' feedback. And I will go ahead and hand things over to your chairperson to begin today's hearing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Unit 1 hearing. My name is Darcy Kern. I'm a professor of history at Southern Connecticut State University, and I did this program many years ago when I was your age as well. It's a wonderful program, and I hope you guys have enjoyed your experience.
Hi, everyone. My name is Miriam Amarsadegi. I'm also thrilled to be with you and proud of you already. I participated in We the People the first year it was offered, long time ago, and I have always been very interested in Unit 1. I was born in Iran and came to the US when I was 7 years old during the revolution, and have adapted and translated the center's curricula for Iranian teachers and students, and we deliver that content through things like Zoom and social media.
And hi, everybody. My name is Christopher Riano. I am a professor of constitutional law and government at Columbia University, and I am assistant counsel to the governor for the state of New York.
If you guys could go ahead and introduce yourselves and your teacher.
Hello, my name is Lorenzo Curcio. I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Kaitlyn Marquez, and I'm also a senior.
Hi, my name is Amasha Jayaratne, and I'm also a senior.
Hi, my name is Jacob Stern, and I'm a senior.
My name is Kelvin Zheng, and I'm also a senior. And this is our advisor, Mr. Alan BRODMAN.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, we are going to ask you question 3, so I'm going to read you the question, and then we look forward to hearing your statement. So, question 3. Aristotle asserts in politics that it is not the form of government, ruled by the one, the few, or the many, that matters most, but rather the ends of government that are most important. Where in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution did the framers set forth the ends of government? How did the framers differ, if at all, about how the ends of government should be prioritized? Which of the ends of government set forth in the Declaration and Constitution appear to have the highest priority today? You may begin.
The ends of government set forth in the Declaration when it addresses rights protection, actuating our underlying principles like freedom, justice, equality, and rule of law, avoiding tyranny, actuating popular sovereignty, and assuring limited government. Rights protection is emphasized in the second paragraph, which asserts that the people have unalienable rights, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Underlying principles are seen when the framers state that the people have the right to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. The importance of avoiding tyranny and maintaining a limited government is seen in the last 2/3 of the Declaration, when the framers cite the specific tyrannical actions the king has done, such as refusing his assent to laws.
The framers set forth the ends of government in the Constitution when referencing popular sovereignty, justice, rights protections, republican government, domestic tranquility, external security, and an equal separation of powers. Popular sovereignty is asserted in the preamble, which states "we the people," asserting that power comes from the people. Justice, identified in the preamble, is actuated through the judiciary's enforcement of it, as seen when the court required a right to counsel in felony cases in Gideon v. Wainwright. While added to the original Constitution, the Bill of Rights protects individual rights and underlying purpose of government. Republican government is assured in Article 4, Section 4, which states the United States shall guarantee to every person in this union a republican form of government.
The framers deferred on the prioritization of the ends of government, including rights protection, limited government, allocations of power, security, and justice. While some framers, like George Mason, prioritized rights protection, concerned by the lack of a Bill of Rights, others, like Robert Yates, focused on the importance of limiting government, noting that the Constitution reflected the dangers of centralizing power. Differing on allocation of power, Federalists prioritized a strong national government to address the issues from the Articles government, while the Anti-Federalists prioritized greater authority in the state and local governments as they better reflected the people. Other framers focused on the importance of security, advocating for a more powerful central government. Alexander Hamilton favored a strong national government with a unitary executive, stating that energy in the executive is essential to the protection of the community against foreign attacks.
Ends of government in the Declaration, with the highest priority today, include rights protection, limited government, actuating our underlying principles, and popular sovereignty. Rights protection and limited government prioritization is reflected in the ongoing protection of privacy expressed in U.S. v. Jones's determination that privacy from unreasonable government searches requires that the government obtain a warrant when utilizing a GPS device to track the daily actions of an individual. Actuating our underlying principles, like equality, is reflected in the ongoing attempt to assure equal pay for women through actions like the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. The prioritization of popular sovereignty is found in the ongoing debates about gerrymandering and other attempts at voting restrictions. President Franklin D. Roosevelt noted that the ultimate rulers of our democracy are the voters of this country.
Ends of government in the Constitution with the highest priority today include rights protection, justice, domestic tranquility, general welfare, external security, and assuring our Republican form of government. Domestic tranquility and general welfare are reflected in the current attempts to address the COVID-19 virus, from the $1 trillion stimulus package known as the CARES Act to the acts of governors like New Jersey's Phil Murphy, in the closing of schools and the authorizing of commandeering of private supplies with compensation. Rights protection is seen in the recognition of the right to same-sex marriages in Obergefell v. Hodges.
Thank you. So since you mentioned we the people and you mentioned COVID, how do we the people effectively hold our government to its rightful ends, especially when there may be conflicts between those rightful ends, such as rights protection like the right to assembly or security, and our desire to be safe and healthy?
So I think one of the main ways that we the people hold the government accountable is through protest and through assembly. And these are rights that are protected under the Bill of Rights. And we see during the COVID-19 outbreak, for example, we see the protests in Michigan where the citizens feel that they should be allowed to go out and get haircuts and live their normal lives, even though there is a pandemic going on. And so we see that rights protection is coming into direct conflict with general welfare of the nation and security of the nation, because the government wants to protect the people and ensure that the welfare and the health of its people is being protected. However, that's coming into conflict with the liberty of citizens and the ability of those citizens to lead their normal lives.
And it's also important to maintain important constitutional rights, such as the right to be able to take the government to court. We see this currently in California, in which the government officials are actually being sued because people are not being able to freely exercise their religion. And it's not whether or not it's considered wrong or right to be able to make a stay-at-home order, but it's the fact that people are able to take government officials to court because they feel their rights are not being protected.
I'm curious about, and when it comes to the ends of government, one of you brought up in the introduction, Article 4, Section 4, which is one of my favorite parts of the Constitution. So I want to hear more. The guarantee clause, how does that factor into the question of the ends of government?
Well, I think that this is essential to ensuring popular sovereignty and also ensuring the Republican form of government, which I consider an end to government, because in allowing a Republican form of government, we are assuring that the people will have a vote. They will always be able to be represented in government. And by having representatives in government, the will of the people is always going to be seen. So this is ensuring popular sovereignty because it's the people are sovereigns and what they want in government is going to be reflected.
I believe that this clause is also important because it specifically mentions states. And as we can see in this time of this COVID-19 crisis, we've seen a return to federalism that we haven't seen in recent years. Because while most people tend to look to the federal government for help, we can see that all of our 50 states in this country have declared an emergency, and we have several governors, including our own, enacting stay-at-home orders. So now more than ever, we've seen people taking direction from states. And so it's important that each state has their own Republican government in addition to what we have at the federal level.
Okay, leaving government and leaving the law, How about society and culture? Are we as one country unified in our understanding of the ends of government? Are we polarized? Even before COVID, was this an issue in your eyes? Consider the role of media, social media. Do you see it as a problem?
I would say yes, we do see that there at certain times people's beliefs regarding culture can be conflicting, and even despite the current crisis, we see that a way of this would be through the prioritization of general welfare over security, where the media is really zoning in on how some states are making movement towards reopening their economies, while others are very cautious. And for example, Governor Andrew Cuomo taking a strong stance on maintaining these social restrictions. So I think that even though we're seeing a lot of polarization in terms of how different people are viewing the current guidelines right now, this goes back to culture, into what different people view as the ends of government, as some people view freedom to be more paramount, as others view social welfare, general welfare to be more paramount. And I think the media, by giving close coverage to everything our President Trump is saying, and just a lot of the political polarization between the Democrats and the GOP, that's really proliferating this sort of situation.
I agree with Jacob, and going off what he said specifically with President Trump, we see this focus in the Declaration on these underlying principles, such as equality. But we see President Trump, who has voiced his opinion on different races and religious and people who practice different religions. Specifically with the COVID-19 virus, he has targeted the Chinese race, calling it the Chinese virus. And I think that the media and him being able to voice these opinions on public TV as well as Twitter is causing an uprising of people having these different beliefs and causing this hatred between these different races and religious practices.
Also, I think in regards to whether or not we're unified about the ends of government, I would say even before this virus, we've seen that we're not really unified, because even though actuating our underlying values is a very important end of government, and equality is one of those ends of government, we've seen that there is a lack of equality in this country, and there's a social disparity in how different races are treated. For example, we saw recently that an Alabama newspaper called for the resurgence of the KKK, which is known to be a discriminatory group that really took out violence against African Americans and infringed upon their basic human rights. However, we see that these groups, and they're using freedom of the press to advocate for something that is so hateful.
Thank you, guys. I have to say that was excellent all around, from start to finish. You guys, you flow very well. You all participated, and you all participated with substantial comments, not superficial comments. And your response to my question, one of you mentioned protest and assembly and those rights. Another one mentioned taking the government to court as another means of holding it accountable. You had a lot of examples, but you also didn't lose sight of the big picture. And I think you raised a really important question, and that is that, people do prioritize different ends of government. And so then how do we compromise? How do we find a place in the middle where our priorities can coexist? So yeah, this was excellent.
You were fantastic. I agree with my fellow judge. I think you had a finesse. You had an ease and naturalness that comes from being very prepared. And then because of that, you can allow yourself to be articulating your own passion, your own conscience. And that's really where you want to be in life. You want to be able to do the hard work so that then you can have a real voice, not just echoing what you've heard somebody else say, but what you really believe, but grounded in facts, grounded in history, grounded in good argument, supporting evidence. You had it all going, and I think you're a real team. And the fact that you can be a real team, even virtually, is a real testament, again, to hard work and a really good teacher. So congrats to all.
Yeah, I have to echo what has already been said. I thought that you all flow together very well. I completely agree. You gave concrete, good examples, more than one. You gave multiple. And it's pretty obvious. Nothing makes me more exciting than when I see a group of students say something that I'm thinking to myself, even my law students might not know much about that. So as soon as I heard Article 4, I knew exactly where we were going, and I got very excited, so I wrote that down as the question. I can tell you, I don't know how much you've looked into that, but Baker v. Carr is the big case, and Article 4 is a mysterious, Section 4 is a mysterious place. The guarantee clause is not well understood, and funny enough, the evolution of that clause has changed over time, but it's very, very relevant when you're talking about some of the things we talked about today, when it comes to state inherent police power, 10th Amendment issues, right, that everyone's talking about today. And, you know, your state, my state, Darcy's state are basically all acting as the super state at the moment when it comes to a lot of things that are happening. How does that work vis-a-vis the federal government? What is the guarantee under that social contract? You guys did very, very well. I liked hearing about general welfare versus freedom. I like the concrete examples. So I just want to echo what my two prior judges said, which is that I think you guys did an excellent, excellent job.
Thank you.